at the bot from episode 2 and actually play around or fight a monster. Back from that part. And then, yeah, either we reconsider at that point, or maybe we even start from the very beginning, because everything was written in JavaScript instead of TypeScript, and when it comes to backend, I would prefer to look into TypeScript more. But let's start. Decide on next steps. Next, start with this part. So for that, I'm going in my console here and go to episode 2, Amazon. Here we have a very basic setup of just an index HTML that we can open up, and I think it pretty much holds nothing. What I'm going to do is start a Python, just an HTTP server here, so we can open our browser. Yes, open it, and then move this over here. And I tried something the other day, which is this. There's a browser preview plugin, so maybe that helps us with, so that I don't have to fiddle around with 20 different windows, and it's a bit easier for you to follow as well. So http://localhost, just localhost 8000. That worked. I think the unfortunate thing here is, yeah, I do not have Chrome DevTools. Well, that's too bad. Other than that, this looks pretty nice. So maybe let's look into Chrome DevTools after all. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah. Because I think the interesting stuff actually happens inside of the console. Here we go. So, error, login authentication failed. That's not so good. That's not so great. Let me. All right, I think my I think my second account that I created in episode 2, or for episode 2, it was blocked because of serious violation of Twitch terms and services. That sucks, but we can just create a new one, I think. Well, shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, inside of here, we can go inside of episode 2. I think the interesting part was this main.js, where we used TMI.js, which is this nice little tool. This one. With which we can connect to the stream. In fact, we don't even need to have an identity. The identity is only necessary if we want to write to the screen, to the stream, which in this case we actually want. So now I've got to get a new account as well as get a new password, like a new OAuth token for that. So let's create a Twitch account. Twitch.tv. Fake email. Yeah. Pop. My bad. register. Hopefully it works with this fake email. Only alphanumeric numbers. Ah, that's a username. Okay. My bad. Thought it was the email. Here's the email. Password. Generate a secure one. Like it's this password is too easy to guess. It's actually 99 random characters, but that's above the maximum for Twitch. And because they don't have a proper error message, they say it's too easy. Let's go with like 60 or so. I hope I don't get banned for doing this. 991. That would suck, pretty much. And then we can go here. Wow, that's a nice verification code. 522222. Oh, okay, that worked. Thank you. I don't mind. Yep. And the next thing that we have to do is get a Twitch OAuth token, which is handled somewhere. So building a Twitch bot. There is, yeah, I think this is the page that we've pretty much followed. In case you ever want to build a Twitch bot yourself, maybe for our stream. So we can go here, and then I click this button, but in that case, I will not show it to you. So, and now I will set it. So there's a global variable inside of globals.js, which is the OAuth token, this password. And I'm going to set this now off screen. There we go. And I also need the username. So, let me double check. Yeah, that's good. So now we can go inside of here, can do this, and debugging true, reconnect, okay. Then the identity is this new bot, and the global, so it looks like this, OAuth colon whatever. Where's my window? Yeah. Okay, that should be all right. And now if we just reload this page, I hope we are actually connected. Error login failed. Why? Damn it. Okay, let's remove the identity for a moment and instead just reconnect with read access. So now if we write something like !ambush, an ambush starts, as you can see. We are attacked by a wild gray sled. Be prepared. The attack starts in 20 seconds. And I think what we already can do is now type !join, and well, it cannot send any messages. So we kind of have to look into this chat instead of the Twitch chat. But other than that, it looks promising. So feel free to write !join, or the gray sled is killing me slowly. So the gray sled, by the way, is this monster, which looks pretty much like, isn't this the most basic monster in Lovecraft monsters? I forgot how they're called. Man, these things are gross. Anyway, yeah, more people joined. Maces Grace joined the battle alongside and H. Kastovich. And now we can type, I think, !attack, and it just has to be anywhere in the attack legs, anywhere in the message. Here. Oh, I rolled a 20. So, and then whenever we write something like !attack something, it rolls a dice, essentially. Man, this thing is rolling amazingly well. It rolls a dice, a d20, and then it applies damage to the health. Yeah. Maces Grace, pretty. Man, this thing is doing amazing rolls. If I ever had a campaign with these kind of rolls, okay, it also did a 1 here, but other than that, it rolls kind of 19s and 20s. Oh, mess. Yeah, and now we could do more and attack it again and again until it's finally dead. Let's see how much. Attack its tongue. It has 70. I have 78 left. How much does it have left? Attack. How much health do you have, monster? 228. Man. Why do we only get the big ones? Okay, so let's see. I think what we will do is we just write it to this page, and instead of sending it to the Twitch chat, for one reason, I don't want to get banned again, and I don't want to get banned completely, ideally. So having said that, whenever we say, we actually don't say stuff, which means, so we write something to the Twitch chat because we cannot write. Every occurrence of this client.say needs to be replaced with writing it instead to the DOM. Does that make sense? I think so. Okay. Let's see what our to-do list says here. So look at the bot. Fight a monster. We kind of did it. I mean, we're currently losing. I think I'm dead already. I have 8 HP left. Nobody died yet. That's amazing. Other than that, so let's look at this script. So we threw out the identity, so we can only read, which is fine for now. And then we connect to it. And then the client automatically just gets messages via WebSockets. Then we have a kind of, this is essentially our main part here. Whenever we receive a message, so something is written into the chat, we get the message as a parameter and then can react on that. So for example, whenever the message contains !ambush, then we start a random ambush random battle. Or if it contains, it not only has to contain, it actually equals. It has to equal !join, then we join the battle with that user. Or if it includes, and this is the interesting part, if it includes attack at any position, then we get the user, supposing the user exists, and if he can attack, so we have a small time limit. You cannot just spam it. You have to wait like time till attack in seconds, 20 seconds. Kind of round based. You attack, then so at least whoever writes !attack within a 20 seconds time frame can attack, and then the monster is again. And when the monster attacks, the tracking of who already attacked is reset, so everybody can attack again. And this is basically what can attack does. And if he can attack, if the user can attack, then he attacks. And if the HP of the monster is below 0, then we die. Then we win. Sorry. And somewhere within the crappy code that we scribbled down, we have something where here, defeat, the battle is lost. And I think we also have, oh no, a user has been killed by the monster. Whoops. And that's pretty much it so far. That's what we did in episode 2. So we can make a check mark here. Any questions on that part? Feel free to chime in. Well, I'll drink some nice warm tea. I actually have to refill my cup. Attack all clear. Yeah, probably you already died, but I think you can still attack. No, apparently you still live. Man, Edgar Stoppage is a tough one. Mace's Great also lives still. I have 26 HP left. Whew. Yeah, the party is still ongoing. So what you can do is we can, instead of writing it into the Twitch chat, which would of course be great, and in the long run, I think for the metagame, if we really want to make it a metagame, then we should do that. But for now, let's just write it to the DOM. And to do that, I will actually remove this part. So again, wherever we say client.say, we actually cannot do it due to permission issues. We can remove this hello. That's not needed anymore. Maybe I copy this. Extend it. And now it's episode 7. Great. Wow, we did so much in episode 7 already. Yeah, watch that you don't write the same message too often, else you get it blocked by Twitch, or at least for a time. You cannot spam too freely. At least you cannot spam the same text. If you attack 3, that works. That works. You attacked for 18. Maybe it was times 3. You actually rolled it. Just kidding. Anyway, so do we need roll dice? I don't think we need roll dice. Let's clean this up at least slightly. So roll dice is gone. Hello is gone. And that's it. Next. Let's see, what do we want? Not that obvious. Maybe first of all we remove this part. Is it dead already? Did somebody die by now? Nobody? Come on, Gracelad. You can do it. I mean, I probably just have 1 HP left or something. Mace's Grace is still attack with all might. 8 damage. I'm still in apparently. Yeah. So the users are actually tracked within a global variable and the monster as well. So that we can keep track of them. So this is kind of sorry, that's a bad word. And I have to deny. It was classified as a bad word. Okay, can't help it. You can write it like, I don't know, with a space in between the B and the A, then it works. Probably. Or maybe the techno monster, the nice monster. If bad words don't work, we just use inverse psychology. Attack with coffee. Oh no, don't use coffee. Probably it died now. How can you be so cruel and attack with coffee? Oh, I got killed. No. Also Kostovich was actually killed before me. Rest in peace, my friend. And I also got killed now with an 18. Mace's Grace is about to die as well. Man, you really shielded me, right? Thanks for that one. Okay, let's get finally to it. As I said now for like 7 times or something, let's just remove this, huh? We want to write it to the DOM, right? Log chat to page. What do we do here? We create a list item and attach it. So we log it first. Okay, that's annoying, but well, then we create a new list item. We set the inner HTML of the list item to be the username as well as his message. And then we escape it and set the inner HTML of the list item and then attach it to the chat messages, which is probably a list if we look into the HTML. Yeah, unordered list, chat messages. Here we go. In HTML, you write it like this, right? I didn't know that this also works, but good to know. Okay, fair enough. And then, like, inside of here, the list items with the Miss Grace, coffee, cruel, coffee, attack appears inside of here. I can't even write coffee. my hands just resist the urge to write coffee. I can't help it. Okay, so I think we can do something similar by by just saying append child, append message, I guess, which gets a message. And is a function, of course. And then we can, I think, just move this part inside of here and say append the message of name and message. Append to. And did it restart? No, cannot send. Cannot property HP. Oh, the battle is lost. Oh no, it actually is lost a lot of times. Defeat. The sarcophagi aren't rendered properly. Or are they? No, they are actually rendered properly. They just look ugly. The battle is lost. The world must rely on another group of adventurers. The gray sled lived happily ever after. Who came up with this text? Okay. We do not use the message, which is kind of a bummer. So we should use it, else it won't work. And that's the thing why I want to use JavaScript, because, well, it's not defined. Of course you can use it. How much does it take us to make this into? We can just put it into TypeScript, and then, because we cannot include it in the index HTML. Well, let's see. Okay, I think what we can do here is just the following, which is append to DOM text. Bam, so we don't need the channel anymore. We can still log it, it's fine. And yeah, as we just saw, that's the power of encapsulation. I think that's all the changes that we needed to do to actually append it to this list. Let me... Do I have to rerun the server? I think I do. Wait. I think... Can we watch this? Does it kill the server? If we're lucky, we can just watch it. And it also automatically then takes the newest JavaScript and so on without us. No need to. It's just a file server. Nothing is cached. I just need to reload the page. That's fine. Okay, let's try exclamation mark ambush. And there we go. An ambush. Your party is is in another plane. We did pretty much. By the way, where we read from is this list. Grails 2J Forstneric for building a 5th edition encounter generator. And we just pick one randomly inside of here. They have a name, they have an area, they have a type, and they have some HP. I think we ignore the type at this point. We use the area, and that's why which is just a string interpolation right here. And if we look for other plane here, so the string that we use is your part here is in A, and then we just put in whatever is written in the area. So, for example, if it's a dungeon, everything is fine. Man, these monsters are pretty hard. Okay, this is an ogre, which makes sense. But the zombies have 316 HP in DnD? More than a specter? Or a Minotaur skeleton? Okay, well, I learned something yet. We've lost, because nobody joined the battle. But other than that, you see that proper encapsulation is very useful, because we did 2 changes and everything was fine. We do not end the fight, by the way. So, let's decide on the next steps, what we did already, and without writing it down, is append messages to DOM, so that we don't have to look inside of the console. For whatever reason, battle lost is not... Oh, that's just a log. Yeah, that's just a log. Okay. Maybe we should also... So, one thing that I do want to do is end the battle. And what's the next step? So we want to have kind of an HP system. What do we want to have? Yeah, actually. I don't know. Users have a level, damage, multiplier, or damage bonus, or maybe base damage. And we can randomize it. Some kind of Pokemon style where every Pokemon has actually hidden base stats attached to them. And if you find one that is very, very good from the get-go, that's a great thing. Just to get kind of like the regular physique of a person into play a bit. So this, let's say this is a random value between which numbers? Can decide. So it will be kind of a D20 plus. How does that sound? D20 plus the base damage. So attack does D20 plus base damage. Shall we call it base attack? So, give me some random numbers. Not too high, not too low. Can it actually be minus? If you think it can be minus, then tell me. But I think then we should at least floor it. Or can you actually heal incidentally heal the monster? Base attack plus level. How does that sound? And then we need EP or EXP. And fighters, adventurers. Pop. Sounds good for now. Then let's see how we do this. And we want this to be saved in a database. To persist across streams. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Actually would like to move this stuff to a node application. I don't know. No, let's just keep it like that for now, and we can still split it further in the longer run. So, what do we do first? We need what do we need? We can start with the front end. Where would you like to start? Start with front end, or and apply all of this already, and then basically have default values attached to a person, or would you like to start on the back end and develop the model first? Database, apply values to files. Model first. Model first means database. I mean, except that we enter. First of all, we do the end of the better. Yes. Okay. Then we do it like these on that. Oh, and we don't have TypeScript. I think for the database we have to move to TypeScript because I don't want to do it without. Let's see. End the battle. That should be easy enough, right? The monster attacks. Here we say the battle is lost, and at that point we just what do we do? I think we can just remove the monster, which is kind of a hacky way, but I think it works. Ja, Mahadi ist eine Monster, ja. Yeah, I think we can just in fact, everybody can join the battle at every time. Seems good. Okay, cool. Then if the battle is lost, then we can say function lose battle. Then we do this, and we do this. And where did I remove that from? There we go. And then we just say lose battle. Okay, this is even better. We just clear the timer that runs the game loop essentially, which means the game loop is not run, the game loop is completely stopped. That's even better. I like it. Much more declarative. Cool. And less hacky. Now, I think this is done. Let's not test it because it would take a lot of time. Oh, we can actually do it. I think we just need to do this. And as soon as we write !ambush, we should get one message in like 1 minute or 20 seconds. And that's it. This one is still pretty easy to defeat. Can actually defeat it. Cool. Now, on to the database. I think we should, let's use Mongo. And what I want to put on top of it, that's the part that I haven't used yet, is Mongoose. Object modeling, which helps us with talking to the MongoDB actually. And again, I would like to use TypeScript as of this point. Did we actually write it to the wrong file? Ah, bummer. That's why. I now know why the why the chat didn't work. I think we just started the wrong user. Defeat, the battle is lost, and it's only one. Okay. I think this person should actually be able to. No, it can't. Forget about it. Never mind. Yeah, that kind of sucks. That now I've messed around in 2 files. Okay, whatever. Database with TypeScript. Okay. CD. How do we do this? So we have to provide a pre-processing step. We have to compile, right? Okay. How do we do this? Ideally, any good ideas are very welcome. Other than that, I can just use the my Chrome window that I want to use. This one? No, this one. Yeah. TypeScript, Mongoose, starter. With Koa, no, we want Express. 3 years old. It also includes Passport, Node Mailer. Not ideal. What about this one? Useless. I'm kind of unsure about how to go about this because we want database connection and we could do it from the front end. It's kind of weird. But since nobody else is running the web page, that would actually not be too too bad. But maybe just use this one? No. Huh. Or do JavaScript? No, we have the TypeScript tea time. Let's not go the dark path of JavaScript. Okay. Let's build, oh man, a backend. Let's maybe look at Mongoose for a second. So what do? I think we have to use Mongoose with Node anyway, instead of on the front end. Am I wrong? npm Mongoose. Browser. Nope. Yeah, so Mongoose is backend Node.js, which, it's possible. But it does not support saving documents, queries, or any other feature that is actually relevant. Okay, so it works in the browser, but only for validation, essentially. So that the validation can be shared, but all the saving and stuff must happen on the backend. Okay, that said, let's go NestJS, because I'm very, very comfortable with it. I'm using it at work, like more than a year now, and I've actually used it before. And if I'm lucky, I actually have it installed. That's my version. Probably I'm very NestJS npm CLI. But probably I'm very, very far away from the current version. Yeah, the whole version down. npm instagrade update minus g minus global, and then add nestjs/CLI. Did that work? Minus version? No. I have a better idea. We do the following. We make a directory, server, go inside of the server, and now we do npm init, and we call this Twitch DnD fights DnD battles backend. Bams version 1. Yes, entry point, index.js, I don't care. Yes. Fine. Then the next thing we do is we install this, the dev dependency, and from there we create a new app with the help of that. Just taking its time. Okay. Now we can run yist, I think, yarn, and now we have the correct version, 7.6. of the Nest CLI. And now we can generate a new project, which is kind of weird, but we can throw away the old one instead. How was the... Let's dive into the documentation. So NestJS is basically a framework that builds usually on top of Express, the HTTP server. And because Express doesn't give you much of an architecture, and having seen that many projects actually failed because there is no architecture, these guys from NestJS thought, I think they are a Polish team, or the main people are Polish. They created this pretty much fixed architecture, but it's still very flexible in the sense of that it's very extensible. And with that, they solved the architecture problem by giving you a lot of things on the house. So let's create this guy. For this, I run, with the help of this Nest generator CLI, we call this Twitch DnD Battles server. Okay, and we want to use yarn, because I use yarn most of the time. And we install it, and then we move some, I just move some packages, and then we already have a web server, and then we can build on top of that. So this, and I will remove all of these files, go inside of there, move these up to here, delete this, and now, oops, we have our files here. We also want to do we want to go to git ignore, and actually whenever there is / node modules or / node modules, then we don't want to put it inside of git version control. Anyway, let me maybe restart this for a second. And yeah, that looks better. Instead of 5,000 plus, we now have 7 changes. Okay, and from here we can dive into, I can actually do this, CDE 7 minus whatever, when we go into the server, and then we do code dot, and we have the have it nice and flat. And for whatever reason, node modules are listed. No, they aren't. Okay, perfect. So next, we can look at package.json and see that we have a start. We also have a start def. And the first thing I'm going to do is do this and rename it into def. And now we can try to run it. And we have a server running, and it doesn't tell us where it's actually running. That would be useful. But we can look at this here, and then we can say console.log can await it. Okay. Console.log. Server running on http://localhost 3000. There we go. And now I can click here, and we have our app, which actually serves content, which confuses me because it's actually backend stuff, right? So inside of here, we have like controllers, and these define essentially the endpoint. So in Express, you would write something like app.get, and then in this case, it's nothing. And then you would write app controller.get hello function that maps to. So this would be the identical in Express to writing this. But because this kind of is very unmodular, NestJS just gives you this kind of get and add controller using decorators, and then this defines the route empty. If I do this here, let's say users, and then this would change into get \users, just like this. I'm not sure whether the backslash is relevant. And if I do something like users 1, then this would become /users/1. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Nice. All right. So from here, we want to add Mongoose. And there's probably Nest specific stuff that we can already do. As I said, they give you the architecture, so they move out a lot of guesswork, and I don't know. Recipes sounds good. Yeah, Mongoose. Here we go. Warning. Great start. In this article, you'll learn how to create a database module based on the Mongoose package from scratch using custom components. As a consequence, this solution contains a lot of overhead that you can omit using ready-to-use and available out-of-the-box NestJS Mongoose package. So we could click here, but let us at least go over it slightly so we get a rough idea. So what does, maybe let's start there. What does Mongoose do for Mongo? In Mongo, you would kind of have you create a new Mongo client, client equals Mongo client, and then you give it some URL. I don't know, Mongo //1234 at localhost 1234. And that's how you connect to it, and then you say client.connect, and then you do client dot for example find, and you await it, and you find, let's say ID this, something in that direction. maybe slightly different, but basically like this. And if you want to write something, you do client.create one or upsert, something like that. With Mongoose, the difference is here you work on the client and call a method and then put in the data. With Mongoose, this changes. Essentially, I also only know half of it, but they do it like so. Because now you start working with objects instead, and abstraction. So you still kind of connect, but from there on, you only define what they call models, which is basically a schema, a footprint, or a prototype of something. And essentially you can think of it as a class, and then you can create class objects, instances of the class. And if the class is a cat class, then the instances are cats, right? And you can just call kitty.save or cat.save on the object instead of directly talking to the client, to the Mongo client, which is in the world of object modeling such a great step, because here you can think of the object, and yet then you just, because it kind of has a connection to, and you can do class stuff, right? You can actually write it completely as a class, I think, instead of this shortcut here. And then you can also give it functions, so you can work with, I don't know, cat kitty dot catch, and then you give it a mouse, and a mouse is another one, and you Jerry, call this one Tom, and you give Jerry some HP to 3 and do something like this, and yeah, then you can start object-oriented programming. For example, a kitty catches a mouse, and then you get a result like wait, const success, and then if it's success, then you can say mouse.die or whatever. So you can start doing object orientation, and at the very end you just save everything, and everything is fine, like so. So from an object-oriented programming perspective, modeling perspective, that's way better compared to direct Mongo connections. Both are very useful, and you gotta understand the one to ideally use the other, I think, or at least appreciate the other more. Okay, so I think we can try to look at this. Let's go through it, and maybe we can create our own stuff immediately. So first of all, they installed. I think we can do that as well. Down at it's Mongoose. So then database providers, they essentially connect to it, and this is a global NestJS specific stuff, but essentially they just initiate it. And that's all. Okay, we added a bunch of stuff, including Mongoose, which hopefully has no types. npm yarn add -d add types / Mongoose. Yeah. So I think we can just copy and paste this part, which does the connection, as I said. And this we put inside of, well, the first step we need to do is establish the connection to our database using connect function. The connect function returns a promise, and therefore we have to create an async provider, okay? Following best practice, we declare the custom provider in a separate file, which has star.providers.ts suffix. Okay, so I think this is essentially top level, right? What was it called? Forgot the name. Database provider. Database.providers.ts. And we can just row this one in. So we, into the global scope, we write this provider so that it can be accessed from other modules, and we connect. And that's it. So we also have to provide a proper link IP here, that's URI here. So let's get started with that. For that we need a MongoDB running, but Docker got us covered. Docker MongoDB. Fortunately, Docker Hub. So forgot to post most of the links. My bad. So this here, and general NestJS, so, and Mongoose, like so. And now, getting back to Mongo, what we want to do is start a Docker container so that we have a MongoDB running. For this, I just go to Docker. This is the image, and somewhere inside of here, we can do it like so, but that doesn't suffice completely. Somewhere inside of here, it needs to have like port forwarding. Mm-hmm. $27,017. How to use this image. Okay, so we do docker run, which executes an image immediately, and there we can already see the code. So we give the container the name Mongo. We want to have the image, which is called Mongo. The image comes from here. And we want to have port forwarding so that we can access the MongoDB that was super fast. And it didn't work. Exit 10 seconds ago. Why you exit? Docker logs Mongo. Docker log. Ah, yeah. Docker logs actually work. Error passing command line unrecognized option -p. I think I messed up the order. It must. This is a parameter because it comes after everything. It's a big parameter that's passed to the container, but we want to pass it earlier, I think. -p 27017, 27017. There's a typo. Docker container move Mongo. So for now, I just automatically remove it. This time it works. Yeah. This time it works. The bad thing is I have to shut it down again. Docker stop Mongo. Because I gave this minus rm flag, which I do not want. So, and now we have a Docker container object. Okay, Mongo is now available on I think this IP, which is localhost :27017. That should be all right. Oops. Then next up, then we need to export these providers to make them accessible for the rest of the application, because we want to use it not only inside of here, but we want to actually use it somewhere else. For that, we create a database module, apparently. And what we can use is, again, the so G stands for, I think, generate. And we want to create a module, which is kind of one slice of an application inside of Mongo, inside of NestJS. And we call it database. Yeah. Like so. Do I have to write module? I'm not sure. No, I don't. Good. So it created this file for me, which looks close to this one. So class database module. And what we can throw inside of there is the providers coming from this database providers. In that sense, we also then want to probably put this inside of that. /. Okay. So this one is done as well. We now have kind of defined a slice of the app, which is called database module, but it cannot do anything currently. For that, we need usually a service and at some point, hopefully also a controller. There we go. So let's go one by one. We have the database module. Now we can define a schema. Where do they put it? Oops. Button. Schemas in English. Yeah. And we want to have an adventurer. Yeah, adventurer.schema.ts. So we import star as Mongoose from We don't need to do that. Export const adventurer is a schema. Thank you for the completion. Dot, no, schema is a functional class. Yeah, it's a class. And now we can describe how he should look like. What I'm slightly confused about is that we cannot define much more. Can we extend the schema? Quick start guide. Oh. I think we have one more issue in the database provider. We have to do backslash TypeScript T time, which is a database name. That's what it says here. We not only have to connect to the right URI, we also have to connect to the right database. And so this is how you. So what do? They define a kitten model. No, they define a kitten schema first. Then they define a model from that schema. Then they create instances. Okay, that's fine. And here they added two as methods. Isn't there a nicer way to write this? But yeah, essentially that's what we want, because we want methods ideally. So the let me close all of these windows, so that this thing can actually do stuff. Okay, but for now, let's just give it a username, which is a string. Or do we have to write this? So, okay. Then we new schema. So we need a username. Where's my code readme? That's the wrong one. I'm just looking for the readme that we have. Code readme, where we define what to do. Kind of did this. We are currently now inside of here. And we looked into what I want is this here. So we have a level, we have XP, and we of course have a name. Username. We have a level, which is a number. We have XP, experience, which is also a number. And this is a calculated value, so we don't need this on the database schema. because we can just derive it later on. And then anything else? Did I miss something? It's called schema. Okay, so is it halfway clear what we are trying to achieve? I'm not sure anymore whether that's so obvious. So for HK storage it is. Is it okay if I just call you Custo? Or do you want another nickname? Also good. Man, I would probably be lost. Custo or Custo. The English one or the more. I'm keeping that nickname, Custo. Okay, let's go with that. And Mace is great. I'll probably call you Mace from now on. Custo and Mace. Always nice to have a tea time with you. Speaking of which, my cup is empty again. That's a second cup. My grace. I do that. And you have to feel the shame. My grace. It also it suits well into our tea time. We also have to lift our left index finger, or if you're a lefty, you have to lift your right index finger, your pinky. Particularly when you try to grab your teacup. British monarchy. We're having a tea time. We are British. The only difference is that I'm drinking green tea most of the time instead of black tea, because my heart starts pounding too heavily. So nice. We define a new provider here. Now that we've got the okay. We defined the schema, so we now know how on a database level a cat should look like. What we need is to automatically connect whenever we create a cat. We also want to have a connection to the database, so we can just call .save, if you remember, from this Mongoose page. This one, kitty.save. So it somehow has to know about the connection, and for that we use the power of NestJS and just inject the connection that we defined earlier up here, so we can reference it by this string, and then it comes as a parameter inside of here, and we can call functions on top of it. So here, this returns a connection, and it gets passed into this thing here, thanks to this inject call with the help of a string. And then we can do more stuff on top of that. So let's write that as well. So we have an adventure.provider.ts, which is a class, of course. No, it's actually a constant. Okay. Export const adventure provider, an array of, and we want to. Can I have a type for this? No, I don't. Why not? What's the type for this? Provider, maybe? Yeah. Nice guess. Well, that didn't work. It has to be in a list. of providers. Aha, there we go. All bless good naming. I mean, without knowing too much about it, I was just able to guess the name of this type. So we want to provide something, and this is what is available as a string to the rest of the world. Call it the cat model, not the cat provider. The provider provides a model, not itself. So that makes sense, the naming. Comma. We want to inject the stuff that we defined earlier. Let me close a few of these windows, which is this here, comma. And then we want to use a factory which receives a connection from Mongoose and then returns a connection dot, find the right one. So here you see your regular Mongoose Mongo stuff, DBs and collections and so on, and closing it. Model. Yep. So it's an adventurer, and it receives the adventurer schema. Somewhat weird that the schema lies somewhere else. Or maybe we just move it inside of there. The imports are broken. /schemas. Thank you. Inject. String is not assignable to type array of stuff. Oh, so we have to probably do this. Yeah. Okay, so again, what happens? First, this one gets called, and what it does, it basically calls this, and then is available whenever somebody says inject database connection. Inside of the adventurer provider, we say inject the database connection, which means we get the other one, and then we get the stuff that we received earlier, which is this thingy here. And probably if we would do cannot import, if we would do something like this. Did you mean to wait? Okay. Wait. And then we have to put a big fat bracket around this. And now typing should be all right. Make it async. Yeah. You see? So what gets provided is indeed the object that's returned from the other one. So let's revert this to a state that's actually useful for us. So. And then, let's see, Mace is saying, I was always wondering, can you use more than one provider in your app? And is the ordering important? I think Nest, yeah, it depends on your framework and what you define as a provider. In the sense of NestJS, I think Nest automatically, I might be lying, inside of the app control, inside of the app module, which is your top level module, you define essentially the import order. And maybe. So my guess is that NestJS, to a degree at least, automatically resolves the order. So it builds a graph for you, and then injects first the stuff that's kind of the basics, and then the second level that uses these basics, and then the third level that uses the basics and the second level providers and so on. But I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, then there is inside of the module, there's a list of, there's an array. And I suppose whatever comes first gets initialized first then. So if either it's a graph, they build the graph for you and resolve dependencies. I hope that's the case by now. Otherwise, you probably just have to put it into the right order inside of these provider arrays or inside of the module. And then it should work. So continuing on. Did I call it cat at any point? No, I called it adventure. No, I called it cat mod. Yeah. Provider model, not provider model. Adventurer model. Next, you should avoid magic strings. Yeah, we can move that to a constant at some point. Then now we can inject the cat model. The good thing is it's still very fast, because even if we type something wrong, it gets catched very, very early in development. But of course, we should follow this at some point. Now comes the regular stuff of NestJS, which is, so usually you have kind of controllers, which receive HTTP requests and answer them. But they answer, the question is then, where does the answer come from? And the answer to that, in the sense of, in the case of NestJS, is from the service. This. They do the heavy lifting, and the services also talk to the database tier, which in our case is our cats and stuff. So the service is probably the one that at the end calls adventurer.save. Okay. Controllers, services. And controllers and services are put together into one higher level, which is called the module. And they contain all of this, kind of. So much for Nest in 30 seconds. Because now we're getting into server stuff. Verbs. Where did they put it? Yeah, okay. Whatever. Let's put it into the database for now. Just because it's simple. And then we can clean up it afterwards. So, adventure. By the way, we can again use nest g. By the way, y nest g. And we want to create a service inside of database, but we want to call it differently. Let's just do this and then rename it. rename adventurer service. Adventurer service. Let's do it. Do the thing. The cool thing about using the CLI is it automatically puts the right stuff into the right columns, so they become available, and we don't have to link them up. So what do we want to do? We take the adventurer service and make it injectable. That's done. Now we need a constructor, and it receives an instance of the adventurer provider, or an instance of the adventurer model. Either one. A model. What did we call it? Provide adventurer model. Add dependency, add inject. We inject this, and it is our adventurer model. This is not yet the adventurer, but basically the prototype for all adventurers. It is of type. How did they get the type? Model of. Where did that come from? Does Mongoose help us with that? Yeah, this has a nice type. This has a nice type. It has a name. No, does it have a nice type? I'm not sure. Ah, they extend a document here. Okay. Then maybe let's first define this. It looks kind of redundant with this one, right? But, well, the layer is slightly different, I guess, because this is on the database level, while what we now define is on the domain level. So let's define an adventurer. .js interface. What's the naming here? They call it interface. Interface adventurer amps, and it has currently exactly the same stuff. It's a semicolon. And these are now JavaScript objects. String number. Which is interesting. So these are the inbuilt classes that are being used. Like the class string, but not the string. For example, you would call number.parseInt or something, or isInt. Interesting. Export. Missing. Now, next step. In our adventurer service, we want to have a model of an adventurer. So, yes, import model. Extends a So if we extend the document here, this is I think this is the wrong document. We have to import it from here. I think it took the DOM document for a second. There are a lot of question marks here. Why do I have to do this again? Weird. In any case, we can now async create stuff. We give it a proper create adventurer DTO. Got around a bit earlier today. See you guys next week. Yeah, have a nice evening. Lovely presentation. It was a bit weird today. We're kind of fiddling around, but I hope learning is still there. Have a nice evening, Kusto. And enjoy your, I don't know, whatever you're doing, enjoy. So, I think I'm going to continue at least some more, like 30 seconds, 30 minutes or something. Because so far we have nothing. So, this is a create adventurer DTO. DTO stands for data transfer object, which is kind of just something that holds data most of the time. So it comes from an HTTP request, which means there's not too much. Basically, what it is request.body in terms of Express, but possibly validated, and possibly slightly modified. But other than that, it's essentially the body. So let's define that as well. Create adventurer.dto.ts for class this thing, and it has a username, which is a string. It has we have to essentially define it again, which kind of sucks. But for each layer, essentially, this is now the HTTP layer. Hope that makes sense. I hope it will make sense with time. Yeah. So what we return, where's my adventurer service, is a promise of an adventurer, hopefully. And let's see how we can do that. So I want to work on the adventurer model. So now I have it at this. And we can now create new instances of it. Like so. So this is a class, essentially, that we have here. Which means we can, even though we can access it with this. It's a data field, but it's still a class. In JavaScript, classes are just functions. So you can easily have classes as parameters, classes as data fields, and so on and so on. Very flexible compared to more like the Java in its purest form, and so on. where that's, I think, at least for a long time, it wasn't possible. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it. A lot of useful stuff, in particular. For example, in JavaScript, you have the factory pattern that's completely useless. Sorry, in Java, you have the factory pattern, factory class pattern. That's completely nonsense in JavaScript, because you can just pass the class and then that's it. And then you instantiate it. You don't need a factory, a whole new system and pattern to do this thing. Let's create something. Const adventurer is this, and in our case we just saved, and for the time being we do find all, which returns us, so the type seems to match. Let me just go into tsconfig here for a second to see that strict is switched on, which it wasn't. Yeah, which it wasn't. Which means let me reload the window for a second here. By the way, there's a full screen mode. Can you see more or less with this? There's also a keyboard, by the way. More. Cool. Is it still visible here on the top? Because if it is, it's actually pretty cool. And I should use it much more. What's a factory in Java? A factory is usually you try to avoid hard coding a dependency inside of another class. So say you have class adventurer, and you have class weapon or sword. And usually inside of the class adventurer, you don't want to do new sword, because that would mean the adventurer depends on your sword. What you would instead do is you have a constructor usually, or you can also do it somewhere else, and you give yourself an ice sword. And the person who calls an adventurer would then do new adventurer of new sword. With the help of this, you avoid the dependency of adventurer on sword, which means you can also test it much better. Adventurer does not break if sword breaks. The user actually breaks, yes, but the adventurer is still working fine, even if the sword is broken. And for larger systems, that's a very, very nice property. So testability and less dependencies, one following from the other, to be honest. Dependencies. But that is just a combo of interfaces and classes. Yeah, you're right. How does a factory come inside of there? One thing that you could do, if the adventurer needs swords, or like a lot of them, then you can pass instead a sword factory, which is an iFactory. And the iFactory looks like this. Interface iFactory is just create. And it returns an iSword. So now the adventurer can decide when he needs sorts. So for example, in a class, in a method search, you can now do, and there are multiple ways to do this. This could be a singleton, it could be a factory. But what you could do is now this point sort private. This point sort, or let's say look around or loot enemy. And you could just say whenever you loot an enemy, you create an instance of a new sword, and I don't know, and then attach it to the inventory. This point inventory point add sword. Yeah, it is cool, but in JavaScript you can do it much better. You don't need a factory and a corresponding class, which would implement it, right? Factory implements a factory, and then you would need to define it here and say new sword. Return. And that's all the class does, which is kind of a, yeah, because you cannot use functions. Exactly, you cannot pass functions. At least you could not. I'm not sure about the newest versions of Java, but I think by now they have kind of lambda functions with which it might be possible. But when here you would, instead of giving a new sword, you would write a new factory, right? And all of this you can reduce with JavaScript. Because in JavaScript you just do this. New sword. Or even better, you give it a class. And the adventurer gets a sword. Sword class, let's say, which is a there's a strange. I think you write something like new, and then something, my sword or something. There's a specific syntax for that. I don't remember it right now. But with that, you can just do new sword colors without creation. But that's it. So you can get rid of all of this and just pass sword, which is a cool thing in JavaScript or TypeScript. Or Python is also possible. Everything that allows, that treats, so you call this functions are first class objects. That's typically the phrase that you hear, which means you can pass them, you can have them as arguments, you can have them as return values, and so on and so on. Short off-topic story on Java. How did it came up? Anyway. Now we can talk to we want to return something. And I suppose we want to return a promise of an adventurer array. That's my guess. And we can talk to the adventure model, which is essentially somewhat similar to the collectioner, I think. You say find. And that's it. Ah, okay. You also have to execute it. What does it return? A query. And what does .execute do? What does it return? The promise of adventure arrays. Of an adventure array. Sounds good. I can live with that. So this is kind of only preparing stuff and staging it. And then we also have to actually flush things. Fair enough, fair enough. What else do we need? So we have our servers. We also need a controller, definitely. In the other, we have used the cat interface. The interface extends the document of the Mongoose package. We did define that. The database connection is async, but Nest makes this process completely invisible to the end user. Database content. Yeah, because it's in a sense it's invisible because it's awaited by the framework inside of here, because this returns a promise of type Mongoose. Okay. The cat model class is waiting for the database connection, and the class cat service is delayed until the model is ready to use. That's cool. The entire application can start when each class is instantiated. Here's the final cat module. Yeah, we didn't define it as a module, which is kind of a bummer. They should have said that earlier. Which means actually what they did is yarn nest generate me a module adventurer, and not only generate me a module, also generate me a service. And go for it. There we go. And now we can kind of move everything that's kind of inside of here to inside of there. Oh, yes, automatically update. Why do we have a nesting here? Oh, I think I made a mistake while creating the module. Do we have to do one by one? So there's our module. There's our servers. Bams. And now we can just copy and paste this from here to there. Except that we have to also move this adventurer interface. Yeah, update. You exist. You exist. Why you exist? You do exist. Adventure interface. Whatever. These are definitely assigned. We take care of it. Other than that, what else do we have? This is on the database, so I suppose we leave it here. Can remove this part. We have to throw out that part. So I'm currently just re-estimating where stuff needs to go. Okay, so the adventurer module provides an adventurer service. That's fine. it also should import the database module and all. When we define usually in regular JavaScript, you can just, if you're inside of this folder, you can, without any troubles, just get stuff from there. But inside of NestJS, that's forbidden. Instead, you use these exports via a module. You export it, and then it becomes available to other classes, which then can import it and use it inside of their classes. That's why we write this here. This is again to enforce more strictness and not just be a ball of gibberish and junk, as most things tend to be. Nest generate me a controller, please, as well, for the adventurer, because we want to make database connections. For example, add get, and we want to find stuff, and we want to add post. Apparently it's written small, my bad. And we want to create stuff. And what we want to create, we find out in a minute. Both of these are going to be async, but whatever. We also want to, do they actually do this? No, they don't do it. Okay, so we need a constructor here, and it needs to, do we have to write add inject? I don't think so. I can just write private adventurers, and it is of type adventurers service. And NestJS will take care that I get an instance of this. It's called dependency injection, this thing. It basically, so there are two types inside of, or at least two types inside of NestJS. The simple one is whenever you say add injectable, NestJS will essentially create a list of everything that's add injectable. And when it finds something that says, okay, I want something in my controller that is of this type, then it will just stick it in. And this one automatically receives an instance. So we don't need to write anywhere adventurer controller of new adventurer service. That's done by NestJS, which is pretty cool and very, very powerful, because you get a lot of freedom and less boilerplate and so on. So we want to return adventurers.findAll. Let's call this find all as well. And inside of here, we want to do the following. Return this point adventurers.create. And we want to pass it whichever instance is necessary here. So just pass this down in our case. There's not much to do for us for now. It will become more complicated. So this one handles again the HTTP layer. For example, at get, we can now do localhost 3000/adventurers, and we can do a get request, and we will call this method here. And if we do post, it will call this method. Okay, let's do a test run. Apparently the adventurer module is new. Like so. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I used a lot of stuff is hidden because I used the CLI here. For example, it automatically created this. You can write it with, yeah, let's test it. Sorry. Oh, did I allow it? Yeah. Sorry, we're family friendly here. At some point, probably more people will join. So you also see that the adventurer service is inside of here in the app module. We never touched it, or the actually it should contain the adventurer controller. Adventurer module. This should be inside of here, and all of this is fine. There was a typo. Probably because I was renaming stuff. For some reason, it doesn't work. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is how it should look like. Because I was renaming stuff carelessly, things got in an ugly state. Let's run TypeScript on top of it for a second. So the TypeScript compiler I just run. Can I write anything? What do you mean by anything? Yeah, it works again. Oh. Here's config. The GNOR. What's it called? Exclude. So we're having an issue here with TypeScript. TypeScript exclude node modules because it tries to here's config exclude, like so. That's what I wanted to write. Exclude. I don't know why I didn't get auto completion there. Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it's just weird. That should get rid of undefined compile option. Huh? Uh-huh. No. Huh? Huh? TypeScript exclude node modules. So apparently it's like so. Why can I not use a comma? This work? Why can I not use a comma? Whatever. Whatever. I can't see the chat. I cannot write B and A and then T. Yeah, you cannot write it. That's correct. Why does it include node modules? It should exclude node modules. So doesn't, man, whatever, then let's make it non-strict for now. Now TypeScript should work. What am I doing wrong? Does this work? "95 errors. What is going on? Why does it include definitions of the following identifiers contract with those in another file? npm now remove add types / mongoose. Did that help? It did. Why? Where's our... Oh, I'm confused now. So apparently npm is wrong, because npm mongoose says it provides types with add types / mongoose, but it actually ships with types. Well, okay, that was a confusing. Yeah. Which blocked my chat. Don't use bad words. Adventurer model can't resolve dependencies of the adventurer servers. Please make sure that the argument adventurer model at index 0 is available in the context. I think we need to export the providers. Yeah, okay. So this guy, no, this one should go inside of here. Let's do it with the help of this nice little... What is happening? You go there. Yes, move. Yes, update it. That didn't work. Did it? No, it worked. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And then we should use this and say, so we have a controller. We need to import the database module, of course. Need to import those. We define our controller, and we also want to spread our adventurer providers, which should have an S. I forgot a comma here. Sometimes errors can be so easy, sometimes they are not. So rename worked. Another try. Come on, we can do it. Come on. Yay! Let me just switch on the lights and then we try to do some post requests and get. Yeah, this project is on fire. Glitch lit. But first some tea. Yeah, Nest has some learning curve, but the docs are also pretty good. So if you just work through the docs, it should be fine. It's not as common as Express, of course. Express is just the thing. I don't know how many NestJS npm. How many downloads do they have? It's not that extreme, I think. 600,000, that's not too bad. But compared to Express.js, it's just ridiculous. 16 million. Yeah. Nevertheless, not too bad. In any case, we can do... let me create a file, test.htp here. And now we use my nice little plugin, which is called REST client or something. And we can just say git http :/localhost 3000. Yeah. Localhost 3000 / adventures. And since we don't have any thing in terms of authorization, this should just work. Cannot get. Because it's called adventurer, I think. Yes, it is. This can easily be fixed. One neat little trick. So we did call everything adventurer, and it would be nice to have consistency, but if we want to go for a quick fix, we can just do an S here. And all of a sudden, did it restart? I don't see my clock. Yeah, it restarts. Nice. All of a sudden, whatever. It should be available under adventurers, which makes more sense. Yeah, if you ask me. Cool. So that works. We can also do a post request here, http :/localhost 3000 / great. Yeah. And now comes now we're actually making use of Mongoose, I think. As soon as we post something adventurous, we of course have to give it some content type, application just JSON, and then we can write JSON code. So if we do hello 1 2 3, I hope now that because at the very beginning we defined this schema, it will not actually save anything, or it will at most save an empty object. It saves an empty object apparently, but it does not save the hello. And these are internals, I think. If we give it, what did we call it? A username? Venturer? How do you look like? A username level and experience. Let's say we give it a level of 9,000. That's going to be some great damage, to be honest. Now it doesn't do what we want. No, why you no work? No, why you no work? Damn it. Oh, damn it. If we give it a something proper. So let's say this is our test user. And we also give it experience, which is also a number of this many. It does things, but it doesn't quite do what we want it to do, right? So what I would expect is some result that looks essentially like so. And maybe possibly also this one. Right? That's what we hope that we want. And after that, I think we should finish for today. And continue next time. But today I want to get this one running at least. So what's wrong? We receive the data in here because unused variable. That makes a lot of sense. Can we say something like validate before save? True. Let's make it wrong again. So the obvious problem is, so we get the data from the HTTP. So essentially the JSON that I had in my test thing. Let me close some stuff here till we see the relevant things. Controller. Wrong controller. Yeah, one. Yeah. Got to put it on the server side. Okay. So the data that we put in here, it should be received inside of here, console.log, on controller, the create adventurer DTO. It should be received on here, and then it gets passed to the servers, which does not use it. And if we validate before save, then I hope that this will now fail, pass it up to here, which passes errors to automatically. That's a nest thing again. It automatically, when there's an error, it catches the error and returns something useful. Let's see. It works. The controller also receives undefined. The controller receives undefined. We need to set up something. Add body. This grabs the body. So it extracts the entire body object from the request object. So remember, underlying we have express. And what this add body does is it does request.body and then puts it inside of this variable here. So I suppose we had this inside of here somewhere. Controller, come on, you can do it. Yeah, they didn't write the controller inside of here. So that was, wait, I'm in the service. This needs to be on the controller. Yeah. Import. So on the controller, we get a post request, we get request.body and put it inside of this variable, and then we pass it down to the service. Let's try. So here we go. Yeah, nice. So we did receive it this time. My bad for missing that one. On the controller, remember, it goes network, controller, service, database. And database meaning controller, meaning Mongoose. So we do receive it here. We send it definitely here. We receive it here. We also receive it here because we just pass it down. Our error was, or is still, that we do not use it, which means we can do this. And now it should do stuff. Nice. So mail call. High five, guys. Woo! I need a high five. I think I talked about it like two sessions ago. Do I have a high five sticker? Teamwork. Call this. Take this one from MC. Could not find a high five smiley. I also don't have one, I think. We should introduce one as soon as I'm allowed to introduce my own custom smileys. Whenever that will happen, we can do that. What happens if I write non-existent here and give it a value of true? Because it's non-existent. Yeah. So Mongoose at least fishes out everything that's not allowed, which is good. We can also now start with validation and stuff. Either on Mongoose level, or the other one would be on actually on controller level. There's a nice library for that that I love to use actually. But for now, I think we are on a good track.